Hello, I'm Alexander, and this is the Comfortable Car Club.
And the comfortable car in question is this, my 2010 Citroën C5 X7 Tourer with a 2-litre diesel engine and hydropneumatic suspension, which I bought, as near as it makes no difference, exactly 3 years ago. On the 22nd of August 2022, I made my way to Lisbon. I bought this car, drove it back. That was quite a feat for a car that I didn't know was in great nick. You know, hadn't had my mechanic look at it yet. And then the first thing I did after that, or second thing, well, depends on how you look at it, I drove it to the Algarve. And that's where I am now. Exactly the same thing. 3 years later, shortly after the 22nd of August, here I am. And that's why it's looking all so dusty and filthy. And in all honesty, it's very apt, because I put this car through a lot in the past 3 years. It's been my everyday driver. It's been my... Sorry, someone just passed by in a bike. It's been my everyday driver. It's been my car to take kids to school. It's been my car to go shopping. It's been my car to go on long journeys and take cupboards and fridges and sofas and beds to my house in the countryside. And it's also my fun car, the car that I go and have, you know, jolly times in, because I like the comfort of it and such and whatnot.
It's not really common for car enthusiasts to harp on about comfort. Usually they like speed and brashness and being loud and having cars with hundreds of horsepower and tight cornering and all of that stuff. Whereas people like me prefer a softer approach, calmer, gentler, more refined, etc. I think if both groups of fans were fans of action heroes that were equivalent to the cars they drive, then the people who like, you know, the fast GTIs and loudness and all of that would like Rambo, you know, and explosions and very visual and very loud and etc., very dramatic. Whereas the comfortable car people would be more into James Bond, much smoother and suave, and would solve things intellectually, but, you know, have no problem getting a bit loud and dirty if the situation demands.
And as I said, I've put this car through a lot. In fact, I just damaged it. True thing. All right, let me show you. So this came with the car when I bought it, but these two were just now. There was a tree trunk that was like rotten in the middle, so it had like this C shape. And so the sensors didn't pick it up, so I went against the same thing twice. That's how good of a driver I am. Oh look, there's another. So look at that. Another lovely Tourer there. Ooh, very nice. But yeah, where was I? I've also modded the car. I've added a cup holder. I've also added a USB fast charging hub instead of the original 12-volt socket and ashtray. And basically those are the major ones, I think. All the rest are just add-ons that I've bought from AliExpress. Now, there are two things about the car which are impressive in my humble opinion. One I think is more or less non-controversial, and that's the comfort. It's got that marvelous hydractive suspension, which really does work. However, the other thing that it's been noteworthy for, and that's really surprised me, is the reliability. Now, I really am no stranger to French cars and their reputation, because my father was a massive Citroën fan as well, and I grew up around CXs and Visas, and he had a couple of BXs as well, one of which I inherited and which would break down every 500 kilometers on average. My sister's cars were Peugeots and Renaults. Now she's got a Volkswagen Passat, which isn't going well, but that's a subject for another video. And my wife's got a Citroën AX as well, which is actually rather reliable as well. But anyway, that's not the point.
So I'm no stranger to Citroën build quality.
This car has not given me that much grief at all. I think I'm right in saying that the only major repairs that I had to carry out since I bought the car were the two front struts, which I think were already broken where I bought it, which makes sense, because when you sell a second-hand car, usually there's something wrong with it. That's why I'm trying to get rid of it. And the other was a faulty injector. That's it. All the other things were rather small, some of which I managed to fix myself. So, hooray.
Now, when it comes to measuring reliability, there is a statistic that can give us hard data on how reliable a car is, and that statistic is how much you spent on maintenance. Important thing, doesn't matter if the car is old or new, there are certain expenses that are constant. There's servicing, and there are things like road tax and insurance. They are inevitable. But maintenance things that break, you know, when they're not on a schedule, basically. So you have to pay to fix it, and that basically shows you how reliable the car is.
I did a video 2 years ago, again to the day more or less. It was in the Algarve, and funnily enough, thank you sir, funnily enough, that video, or should I say that stay in the Algarve, was immortalized by Google Maps. If you go to this area in Google Maps, you can see my Citroën C5 X7 Tourer there in all its glory, parked up outside the place where I was staying. It's not where I'm staying this time, by the way.
Now, in that video, I compare my current 2-litre diesel with a hydropneumatic suspension with my previous 1.6 HDI.
Yes, that's right. For those who didn't know, this is not my first rodeo, or C5 Tourer, I should say. Before this one, I had a 1.6 litre Citroën C5 X7 Tourer without hydropneumatic suspension.
Granted, it's not exactly apples to apples comparison, but at least they're like Granny Smiths and Golden Delicious. Not the best comparison, I know, but at least it does give you an idea of what similar cars with different engines and trim levels are like in terms of what it costs to run them. So the 1.6 HDI needed, on average, per year to keep itself on the road, so to speak, 500 euros of my money. This one, in that first year, it was 1,294 euros, and right now, after 3 years, it's, as near as makes no difference, 2,600 euros, so nearly double, but it's sort of like, in terms of what it needs per year, has halved, if you do the maths. Which is good. It means that this car is getting cheaper. And if we were to be very frank, if it weren't for the hydropneumatic suspension, I suspect that this car would have been very cheap to run indeed. One last thing I'd like to compare is fuel consumption. The 1.6 HDI with that smaller engine, 6.21 litres per 100 kilometres, which is very good considering it did a lot of city work, so to speak. This one, I think, if I'm not mistaken, is on 6.36 litres per 100 kilometres, which isn't shabby at all. Now you can ask yourself, is it worth it, the extra money that this needs every year to have the hydropneumatic suspension and a bigger engine? Well, in my opinion, definitely yes. The consumption isn't that far off from one from the other. And in terms of performance on the motorway, I'd much rather have this 6th gear. It is marvelous to cruise at 100 odd kilometers per hour at very low revs, just above 2,000. And also the suspension has been a boon when taking things out to the countryside. It keeps the car completely level, which makes the handling a bit more predictable. There's no sagging in the back. Now, before I end the video, probably I should be fair and try to also highlight some of the negatives of the ownership of the car. I mean, it's not exactly the most common car in the world. You know, they're not rare, but then again, they're not that easy to come by. It can be difficult to get specific parts to the C5, although there are many shared with the 407 and 508, so you might be able to get some parts via that way. Apart from that, what else? I don't know. All the rest are just niggles, in all honesty. Like this sat-nav system, it's not the best in the world, and it's not because of the sat-nav, it's because of the streaming ability. It's not that great. It takes a long time to come online, and the parking sensors won't come online unless the whole radio is, you know, booted up. So that's caused me some embarrassment in the past. I don't like the fact that it nannies me to shift up. That's a bit annoying. And apart from that, I can't really think of anything else off the top of my head. That's how good I think this car is. But you know, don't forget, that's me, it's my very personal opinion. I'm pretty sure other owners would find this car to be horrible because it doesn't have rear wheel drive and 55,000 horsepower, etc, etc. So that's a brief summary of my 3 years with this marvellous machine. And in all honesty, I hope they're the first 3 years of a long and happy ownership. So now it's your turn. Please leave a comment, please subscribe, please share, all of that stuff. On screen now are some places that you can click on and things will happen, like subscribing in the merch store, and also some videos for your entertainment, enjoyment and pleasure. Thanks very much for watching. I've been Alexander. I hope to see you in a future video. I bid you all farewell.